several locations for controlling the lighting. Booth, of course, is the obvious. We have a house lights control that's right inside the entrance here in the center. We have another entry location up here top heading towards the booth, which does some control. We have another major control panel over here on the downstage right side, which has a lot of the different preset looks and scene looks and those kinds of things without an operator that you can get looked on stage and house without an operator.
And that's just from this location?
No, we have multiple locations.
Okay.
We also have a portable station which allows to plug in from the side of stage up on top next to the board. And I believe we have one more down here at this location right here. So in our rehearsal location, so we have multiple locations to run house lights and also to be able to bring the board down and operate in a rehearsal situation. Let's take a look at this one since we're here. 1 through 4. At this point in time, preset 1, 2, and 3 is 150, 25%, and then preset 4 is a custom look that you can program, and of course all of them can be programmed with whatever look you want in the house. And like I said, I'll show you how that all operates near the end. We have a lockout that turns off and on all stations down here, minus the booth and minus the portable station. So if you have the portable station plugged in, you always have control of lights, or in the booth, you always have control of lights. But everything else, so if I flip the switch, everything turns blue and the LED above the switch turns red. It's locked out, and just by seeing that it's all blue, you know that that station is locked out. You make any pushes on there, it will not make a change.
And that works for everyone on the lower area.
Right.
Like I said, except for the control booth and the...
That's correct. Backstage as well, because that can be kicking on a work light as well. So those are all locked out. So when it all gets controlled from either the portable or upstairs. So we'd have to turn on the run lights because they forgot to, or turn on the work lights. You got to hit it or have a key to kick on. Okay, so we've locked them. We pulled the key. Okay, so as you can see, everything's blue, and I've got my key out, and it's like, okay, now what am I going to do? Well, you put your key in, turn it. If it happened to be in the up position when we had locked it out, I would have to turn it off, lock it, and then unlock it again. So that's called taking control. ETC functionality is a lot in the ability to take control. When we get upstairs, there's a fader station up there with sliders, and all the LEDs will be dark until you put them to full intensity and then bring them back down. Now you've taken control of that particular zone or fader. So now we have control again, so we have house lights that are at full, and then we have our multiple stuff here. So we have some rehearsal looks that are set up in here. And so now I've kicked on a splattering of house light or theater lights, stage lights, as well as the actually it's all stage in the rehearsal and work lights mode. So we have 2 rehearsal looks. We have 3 catwalks. We're going to designate rehearsal fixtures up there. That when you push that on, it will give you lights. Rehearsal lights from the catwalk, so you can minimize, so you can use either quartz or you can use something of a lower cost on bulb replacement or a higher value, higher lamp hour. So you can just have rehearsal lights and have white light on stage without having to use your expensive HPLs. So that's the idea of those. We have a stage look, we have a day look, a night look. No, day look, show look, a night look, and then all off. So if I hit all off, all off. So we'll bring back the house lights.
At 100%.
At 100% out there.
That's the one, right? If you want a 50%, that should be 2.
Brian's pushing buttons.
And that's 25%.
Okay.
Okay, we have Do you have a critter come at you?
What's that? I don't know what it was, but
It got your attention, huh?
it hit me in my face, and that's it.
Okay, we have on the back stage over here, there's a crossover run and work lights. We'll get to those, but that's controllable right here. We should also be able to have, let's see here. Those are those aisle lights down there. And then booth we down here, off aisle. This is our stage 1 light.
And it's listed on here for all of us who can't see.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the point here. And then
More than
wings. Should have had my wings. I'll fix that. We have 2 wing work lights right up here. So this is the lighting control center for this side, and this is duplicated both in the upstairs and in the portable station.
And the portable staging as in over here where we...
I'll show you whenever we get through the next. It's actually a portable walk around with a 15-foot cable.
Okay.
And there's a plug-in station over in the corner over here. Like I said, just at the rehearsal location and also up at the booth.
Okay.
So we can plug it in.
And one behind you, too.
Oh yes,
One
we
right
got
here.
one back in here. And the
That's what's
plate.
sitting at the piano.
So we can see it. Yeah, it's actually
Kenny's
back
piano?
here behind the chairs. It's over in this corner over here.
Okay.
And it's a 3-wall. Back in here, plug into it, assign DMX values higher than what we're running on the facility itself.
Okay, that's if we have a different dimmer bar, right? If we take one of the dimmer bars that's already assigned and come down here and put it on the stand and plug it in, it's already assigned.
Yeah, whatever the numbers are on that box is what, 1 through 6 or 7 through 13 or 7 through 12, whatever it happens to be.
Okay.
And if you get, like I said, if you rent some extra ones,
can also
you leave
add
those
that.
up there, just take this down here and assign it to channels
Okay.
up above. Yeah, it's just your smart switch and smart packs in here. The smart switch is relays and it's on and off. The controls are all the same. Pressing the light bulb here, it goes into what's called test mode, and we can go in and let's see here. I'm going to keep test on. I'm going to go test off. So when you first look at it, you'll see a bunch of bars. If anything happens to be operational at this time, so we have between 1 and 12, we have these channels up. If we, oops, wrong way. If I press the check button, I see I got 1 through 12, and then I go through 13 to 24. And there's 24 relays in this box. They are fed by this panel. And these breakers here feed these relays that feed lights, plugs, switches, whatever they happen to be hooked up to. The idea of the set level is so that I can go in and, without any control system, turn lights on. So if I want to turn all these on, once I've gotten to this level after hitting the light bulb, is by going up. Now I just hit 0. 0 is off. So anything that's in there is forced into the off position, 0. If I bring this down, you'll notice it's a hash mark. That's the released mode. That means that any system that has control as part of its functionality will operate this device. If I go to 100%, now I've locked everything on. Now, anything over 51% is on a relay. Below 50%, it's off. So you could be going up, 25, 35, 40, nothing happening till you've reached 50%. Then it'll kick. The dimmers will get through 1 through 100%. So whenever you're all done testing, finding out why the control system doesn't work, or you just wanted to do some service work and just wanted to get the lights up so you can see what's going on, you can go ahead, go in the set level, set the ones you want to set, do your thing. After you're all done, then just go ahead and take it all the way to the release mode. Or if we're here and I exit out, it will, if I had left them in the mode, it will say, do you want to leave test on? You say yes, and it will leave it that way if you exit out of the menu. Or if you didn't want to, then you would just say release all, and then it would release and get back to this mode here. And so there's, and this is set up, the dimming range, or the DMX range on this one is 489 through 512. So whenever we look at the board and all the channel selections up there, we know that this dimmer box or this relay box will operate between these 24 channels.
And we've only got one relay box.
Yeah.
Sorry, just
Okay. Now we'll, okay, you goes that way and I'll go this way. Okay, so now we have dimmers. Exactly the same software, exactly the same setup, except for whenever you do the level changes, it will be from 0 to 100%. So you'll actually get your lights going from 0 to 100%. This panel has, it's self-contained, it has its own breakers. Whereas this uses this to provide the breakers. Those can be anywhere from 100 volts to 277, 208, depending on the module that's put in there. It can take a variety of different loads or different voltages. This is a straight 120 volt dimming system. So each breaker on this is going to control a branch circuit out on the field. The first switch here is the electronics. If I kill it, I've killed all of those lights that would be working off of this. The system is now off, not outputting anything. Once I bring it back up, it'll go through a software. It'll let me know that I've got power and that I have DMX control because I've got a solid green DMX light. This one's set up from 477 to 488. And then this one here is set up from 465 to 476. So this is all your house light, installed house lighting, as well as the fluorescent lighting. Do we have any plugs on that one? No plugs?
On the relay?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that's all on-off lighting. Fluorescent lighting. Anything that doesn't dim is on that. Okay, let's go find the brain. So this plugs into it has a ground connector in here that screws into place.
And this is the same panel as the one on there with the 624
Yes.
buttons.
Yes, that looks just like the one on the house right side, or the stage right side, or in the booth when we get up there. So this plugs in, same functionality, identical, same thing with the key. If you like I said, if you find that you're in lockout mode, cycle it off and back on again, you're now out. Whatever state you've left it in, pull the key out, you're going. This is the Paradigm auxiliary rack. In here we have the Paradigm processor. This is the brains of the operation. This is what takes all the input signals and everything from the switches, says, okay, that's what I want, what you want to do, and says, okay, turn the colors of the LEDs to whatever we want. It also sends out information, DMX information in Ethernet form. So that's why we have an Ethernet switch in here. From this, we are going out to, right now, 2 locations. One is our gateway. And this takes the network DMX information and converts it into our standard DMX 5-pin or 3-pin cables, a single universe at a time. There are 4 universes that pop out of here. One of these is bringing in the DMX from the booth. The other 3 are spitting out to the 3 DMX repeaters. And from here, we go to all the locations that have a DMX output next to usually one of either the smart bars or the smart module 2 packs. And all these right now are set up on Universe 1. Everybody familiar with universes or anything like that? Okay, basically all we got here is in the old days to get a DMX universe is 512 control channels with a 0 to 100%, or if you have to use hex, 0 to 255 range. And so what we do is we'll tell a dimmer that you're going to listen to channel number 1, universe number 1, and whenever I go from 0 to 100%, that's what I want you to do, is go from 0 to 100%. We have 512 of those channels. So what we've done is taken those 3 boxes out there and said, okay, I want you to work at the very end from 512 back down. We just went, backwards on the channel count and said, okay, now this is where you live in our control. So 493, which is one of the relay packs, or sorry, one of the dimmer packs. We say go from 0 to 100%. It's going to bring up that light bulb 0 to 100%. Well, then we'll put in intelligent fixtures. They take somewhere between 3 to 27 to 36 channels to be able to do what they do. That's when you see those moving egg lights that have the light and the colors and the spinning gobos and patterns and all the neat effects they have. So what we do is we say, okay, we're going to use up another universe, or we're going to run another wire. And now we have another 512 channels. And out of our boards, we can have a 1 universe, a 2 universe, multiple, whatever we happen to have, depending on how much money you spend on that board. So now I can control another 512 channels of lighting. If I had a third, it's another 512. Well, that gets really old after a while when you put in 5 or 6 or 10 of these. Now with LED lighting and with our other, we can have a lot of control channels. So now we have this big bundle. So what they decided to do is we now have Ethernet. So now what we can do is we can say, okay, universe 1 is 1 to 512. The next one is universe 2, which is 1 to 512 again. Or we start doing what's called absolute values. Now it's 513, 514, all the way through 1024. Add a universe, just add another 512 channels. But now we're running it all on one cable. And all we need to do now is just have a box to translate that back out, give me my 5-pin connector that plugs into the box, goes into the light fixture, and now I can have as big of a system as I want to run because I have Cat5, or I have network on there. So, long and short of it is, DMX is just a control protocol to talk to light fixtures and to dimming controls. And there's a couple of different architectures that let you get there. Either a solid wire for 1 universe, or we take network, go to it. Some of our taller racks and stuff, we actually just plug the Cat5 into it, tell it what numbers to listen to, and we're done. Don't even have to worry about DMX at all, as far as, a DMX cable. So that's the quickie on what DMX is.
And in this theater, we only live in 1 universe.
We're only living in 1
512.
universe, 512, and then when we start talking about the LED fixtures we've got those set up in a mid-range of the DMX patch, 201 through 240 something. I think
And our 0 to 512 in our 1 universe here is probably only half full.
about half. So you got plenty of room for a lot of stuff, and like I said, because you've got the board you're using, you can go to a multiple universe. You can actually change one of these to a 2nd universe or to a 3rd universe, and whatever outputs that happen to be out there would change with those. Or, like I said, you could get another one of these, which is a portable unit in a rental, plug it into a network port, and now you can have 2nd universes and do a much bigger show. Because it will happen sometimes. You'll be shy 5 channels, or the grouping is all wrong. So you just throw it up in universe 2 and take it off of there and run it that
We
way.
had such a good consultant, though. I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be in great shape. I said this will be like a really over-the-top project, production where you need to go into your next universe.
Stephanie.
Let me bring you to reality for a
I'll
second.
be taking.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I'm Kent Conrad, I'm the theater consultant, and Jeff is here to give me the guts of things. In many ways, this is it's a first-class system with great equipment, but it is simplified to keep the cost down, and that's why we don't have multiple universes. But you have some options readily available. For instance, you can take a 2nd universe directly out of the console if you want to. So there's lots of options available and room to grow. and it'll also match up with your other system across the street. So that's part of why we have the equipment we do. And, you know, as we're going here, just ask questions away, because there's a smart guy here. I was going to mention, too, that the controller down here can plug into various places in the booth, center of house, backstage. So that little guy can move around to wherever you're set up for rehearsals and so forth. So I'm glad some of you are here. It's great.
Does this controller right here, can it have a 50-foot extension cable
Yes.
attached to it?
Yes.
And then you can also at the same time, if they wanted to, run this controller outside in the plaza, run 100-foot DMX and 100-foot SP cable, and set up a dimmer module out in the plaza outside of the theater. As long as they have
No.
lights where they could plug in.
Well, the biggest problem you'll have is this doesn't have a functionality to control something outside of what is pre-programmed for.
Gotcha. So they have to, but they could program a
You
show
could
to
run-
run modules 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then press a preset in this, and then it'll.
Yeah, I mean, if we did use rehearsal 1, 2, or show, it could be done that way, absolutely.
It'd probably be simpler just to take the console off.
Yeah.
The count.
Just unplug the console, take it outside, and just run your show.
Okay.
Or you just run that, you have some disjointed cues going off, and you can run those talking about other channels and send them out there and just use the console.
Okay.
Um,
Without
Do-
seeing it or.
yeah, you just set up your 4 or 5 looks, and then you can just run it that way.
So all this, basically, I guess my question, all this with extension cords can be moved 100 feet from the building and program something
Oh, sure.
if they want to.
Possible.
Yeah, but most cases there, you just take the board out, get some modules out, get some packs, and turn on, and just get some power out there, and you're done.
Gotcha.
Now, does Copeland Theater have the same module or the same? No.
The control infrastructure is similar, so things would swap back and forth.
Okay.
But it has the same smart bars, that basic infrastructure. But this has some more sophistication to it here.
Okay.
In
So
terms
we
of the
so we
control.
couldn't use that over to Copeland. It wouldn't.
No.
It wouldn't. Okay, transfer.
No, not without programming.
Well, and the house lights over there are all separate from the theatrical system.
I see.
So that's why.
Because this is basically for house lights. This thing right here.
House and rehearsal.
And presets.
And presets. So can you can you program preset something in Copeland? That's our theater over there, and then plug that in and run the preset.
What Copeland doesn't have, which Jeff was just pointing out, is this upper thing, the paradigm unit.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of the brains that makes this building much more sophisticated in that aspect, and because we're controlling house lights and other lights in the building. Whereas in Copeland, the theatrical system is separate from house lighting and work lighting and other systems, where they're combined here.
Okay. Pressing the check mark brings you into the menus in the paradigm system. We have arch setup, arch control, file operations, view and clear errors, restricted access, timed events setup. And this is set up so that you can either run it around like a little iPod, or if you tap up and down, you can get it to cycle up and down as far as what you highlight in the menu. File operations. This is where you can save all of the information that's in here. You can download them to either an SD card or a USB flash stick. Excuse me. And that information, so say if after you've done presets and stuff and you want to save this and send it over to the factory so they have a recent copy of all your new looks, you can set this up, you can download these files onto the stick, you can save them on your laptop or your desktop as backup and send them in. Also, this is where if all this dumped and you didn't have a copy, the factory can send you a file of the configuration, you put it in to the whichever media you have, and then from that point you can then load the Arch config and bring that in and then restore the system if you happen to have had a corrupted file. So that's really cool because that can happen 24/7. What they do is after 3 o'clock our time, It's a 15-minute service call or service callback. So just all you have to do is give them a mobile number or a number where you're standing. Hopefully be here next to the equipment. When they call you back, they'll walk you through the steps, and they will walk you through all steps. How to do, we were talking about setting the light levels, how to go through and find out if you just have a control issue or an equipment issue or anything like that. If we need to reload the software, they'll tell you how to reload the software or how to recycle or cycle the system. Thing they can tell you is if it's got some error messages, one of the first things we may want to do is do a reset. So we'll put a little paper clip or thin pin into here, hold for a second, release, and now you reset the system. It'll go through a reboot. You know, it's like a computer. So in this case, we shouldn't have the problems that would normally have because we have a UPS or uninterrupted power supply on this system. So things that we would find if we didn't have this, we had a brownout or a quick hit of power. That's when you get the computer to get all haywire. You end up with Chinese all over the screen. What am I going to do? Hit the reset. See if the system goes through a full reboot. And usually 9 times out of 10, because this is saved in 2 different locations in the processor. So there's always, should be a good copy in here. I've not had, unless something was going on really, really strange, I've never had one of these lose its configuration. These things are really bulletproof.
I was just going to add from, I'm sorry to interrupt. The stuff that Jeff is telling you now and the things that you just looked at in the hallway here, it's really good to know this information, but my guess is you're probably maybe never going to have to touch this again because it's that reliable.
And we don't have our large theatrical our sensor racks where have filter cleaning and those kinds of things are, you know, the normal. And talking about cleaning, but the other thing you would need to do as far as those are concerned, the backs out in the wall, vacuum. Make sure if you start seeing dust, vacuum them. Just take a soft brush, you know, like a upholstery brush. Just do the vents, get them clean. If you keep them clean, the thing will run forever.
So
Cool and clean.
So don't be too scared of all this stuff.
Yeah, this is really quite. Now the other thing I want to show you that's in here is we have for the outside lobby area, we have a timed event to turn off and on those lights. So at the very bottom here, in the menu, we have timed event setup. If we go in, we can now either add event, we can edit what we've done. So right now, today the 30th, I'll go in, so now I've got outside night starting at sunset, going to midnight, and then, actually I think, and then it's a half hour before sunset. So I've got it set up as a 30 minutes before sunset offset. So that way whenever we go, so 30 minutes before sunset, lights will come on, turn off at midnight. And that'll happen whether it's this time of the year
all
or
the exterior lights
those
outside
exterior,
of the building.
on those on the outside.
And if we want to change that, what's that process?
Just go right into here, so we keep entering. So now I can change the start time, because right now before sunset I've got it 30 minutes. So if I want to change that one, I'll go in, and I still want to do it before sunset, and then I'll go back down here to time, and then I want to change it to an hour before. So now I made it an hour and 30 minutes before sunset.
Okay.
And can we use this immediately? Say, for example, there's something spontaneously going on outside. Can we just come back here and set the lights go on?
Yeah, you can just go ahead and put it for next, you know, the time just minutes before.
Okay.
Change it that way.
So now, where do we want to set these lights at? I told him, come on sunset and then go off at midnight. You want to run them 24, you want to run them all night long? It's all the lights out front, all the LEDs, all the...
And you don't have to run them all either. You can run them heavy for part of the evening and then go to a lighter look, you know, a less illuminated
Our
look.
lamp posts will be on, because they're on
Lamp post is
level.
on your school timer.
And those are kind of our security lights, I
That's
guess.
security lights.
These are more aesthetic.
Yeah, that's what I figured. The
Okay,
static
cool.
lights we can just shut off at midnight.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think we'll have a show past midnight.
Yeah.
Or maybe, I don't know.
We have rehearsals sometimes past midnight.
Okay, so you want to go to 1 a.m., 2 a.m.?
And you can change that here.
Well, while you're standing there, I'm just thinking maybe we just have you change it while you're standing there.
Well, no, I'll let somebody else change it.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Promise. Change it to 1 o'clock.
That's true.
Sure.
I mean, Rob's the one who's gonna find change it, right?
No,
Adam
he is.
or no?
He's got to do it.
Rob and Alex.
Okay, so you
Team effort.
You can just hit
Get in
the
there.
check button and it'll bring you back up.
Okay. So,
Okay, so right now where the highlighted is where it wants to change. So if you hit the back arrow, so you'll just take it back.
okay.
And then you can either put in, use the numbers, or you can go around. So right now it's 30 minutes before, after sunset.
Okay, so that's what we want to do.
All right, so go back. All right, so now you're back. Now you want to go up and down.
Okay, didn't change it.
Okay, we'll change that in a minute.
Okay.
So go down. So and the action means this is because I could have multiple timed events in there.
All right.
So that right now we only have one. So this is the one we're going to use. So the end time's going to be end of day, and I've got a time set for 1 or for midnight. So go on down the time. Just sort of there you go. Okay, now check.
And so, let's make it 2.
Okay. So hit check mark.
Check mark.
Check mark again. And one more time. And now you're back over there because now you've gone through all of them.
All right, so now I can go back up here. You check. Change this to 0. Check. Check.
And then why don't we go ahead and put it back to before midnight or before sunset instead of after sunset.
Oh.
I was just, I'm not saying that we want to
Okay.
And so I think those LEDs can actually be dimmable, right? Out there. There's LED lights on.
No, they're on a relay, so they're
Gotcha.
on or
So the
off.
100% is not
Oh.
comparable to any of our exterior lights.
No,
it's just
anything,
it's either on or
that's
off.
all a relay, so those are not dim.
You know what I did? I'll change it so you have those 4 presets sitting here. Right now I just have the timed event, so I didn't.
Right, so it's going to always do it.
Right. But what I can do is set it up as when you go to here. So what I'm done is see we're going into presets.
Right.
So I got presets. And then once I go into here, so I can pick the one I want of the area, so the outdoor lobby. So we'll go down to that. So we'll go into here. So then you'll end up with 4 presets in here.
And you can turn whichever one you want.
Whatever one off or on that you wanted to, and then the timed event would take over that afterwards. So if you turned them on early,
Right.
the timed event would take over.
Okay.
And then if you want the timed event off, you would just set it where it never comes on.
Yeah, we could go into, I can set it up so that you can go, we can put it as unprotected, so if you go into Hollywood holiday schedule, it'll turn off the timer. Then you go out of holiday schedule, then it would put the timer back on.
The holiday schedule turns the timers on.
Yeah. And if you want, I mean, your next expense that I would suggest is if you want to build a lot of power out of this, is to get the portable LCD screen, which will plug into any of the Cat 5 locations. Once you have a portable LCD, we can add pages and pages and pages and pages of control.